Hello, today is April 8th, 2021, and I'm going to be doing the viewer weekend tarot reading. So if you're a subscriber, this is for your weekend, and you can see if any of this may apply to you, and if not, just keep it in mind because it might come around in a way that you don't expect, and in some meaningful way. Or not, sometimes not. But anyhow, you can see if it applies to you. So I'm going to be asking Spirit to assist me to read accurately and clearly for my viewers, hopefully to speak clearly too, and relating what Spirit wants to share via the cards for my viewers for their weekend of April the 9th through, this is so pathetic, of course, through the 11th. So the 9th through the 11th, this is what this covers, okay? And you can see if it applies to you. If you don't think it does, always give it a time for the end of that weekend to process. You never know. Okay, so I am asking Spirit to assist me, and I'm dialing in, trying to dial in, share with my viewers for the weekend. And what does Spirit want to share for my subscribed viewers this weekend? Again, that is April the 9th through the 11th, 2021. Okay, we're dealing with the card of abandonment or needing to make a complete change in your life and where you leave the past behind and you make a new start, complete new start. Let's just see, this can deal with also being abandoned, feeling like somebody's abandoned you. We can, or who has neglected their responsibilities and is heading for the hills, not sticking around to take care of things also. We'll know more with the cards that come about. So here we're getting the the Four of Pentacles. And this is about holding on. Again, I have ash really up under my nail. I've struggled, I can't get that out right now. So, my apologies there. Anyhow, in looking at the two cards, we see a very interesting dynamic here and contrast. One of completely letting go of like, to the point of like, you would have thought they were checking out the kitchen sink too. And this one, the Four of Pentacles is about clutching, clinging, and holding on, and this is letting go. So there may be a need for you to look at, and for all of us to look at, where we need to change things very significantly from our past way of dealing, to where we're, if we're holding on to a broken issue, especially that of where people have abandonment issues, then we need to look at working on letting that go. If we presume everyone we meet is at some point just going to abandon us, also that is, you are just setting yourself up for failure. You cannot, and I've had to learn how to and am learning how to unlearn this, to let go of this, because we're comparing past painful circumstances of rejection or abandonment and just attributing that the next person is going to be exactly that way also. And so it creates an energetic problem there when you hold on to that stuff and you keep bringing it back up and measuring present circumstances against a past thing that wasn't, helpful. So letting go, holding on. What are we doing? Where do we need to let go? And this is holding on too tightly. This is one extreme or the other. And it's not usually good when sometimes we need an extreme, but it's not always an extreme to the circumstance. So it's depending. But again, we need to look at the aspects of running away from responsibilities and being negligent potentially, or making a complete change because the past wasn't healthy. And this is about holding on. What are you holding on to that maybe isn't healthy? Are you holding people down? Are you being possessive and people running away? Are you pushing people away? Here's also a card, we're dealing with the aspects too. What's coming to me is holding, if you're gonna, making sure you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Keep what's important. Keep what is a good grounding, means of grounding in your life. Having some grounding, not just running off and being all over the place. That energy pertains here as well. Let's just continue and see. Yes, we get the devil and we get, this is about love relationships and the lovers. So this can also be about a heated up sexy affair, especially with the devils. The devil doesn't always mean that it's a toxic relationship. It could just be that it's a very sexy relationship. But we have to look at the other cards around here. And I do have to say, I think it's saying there could be a toxic relationship that one needs to look at. Or not just one, maybe multiple toxic relationships in one's life because of a tendency to maybe be possessive or pick codependent people that participate in this negative, problematic manner, It's saying you need to look honestly and not run away from or try to possess or hold on to people that the relationship may require the relationship to change. There's looking at trust in relationships, definitely. We're looking at dealing with cheating. Can I trust you? To a fear of being abandoned. And if you're too fearful of being abandoned, you can end up pushing people away from you by presuming that someone's always going to do you wrong and holding on to that old abandonment issue and dragging it in and throwing the heavy chains and binding to somebody where it's a fresh relationship and it's not this old thing anymore. So here's something to keep in mind. If you need to change your possessiveness or your insecurity level, get to work. That's definitely here. Do not drag in old issues into a new relationship, or do not use an old ruler measuring stick up to somebody new. Don't keep taking something old and making it always, and making somebody or somebody else that's not connected to that they're going to react the same way, or that's going to be the same circumstance. And, you know, you don't want to push people away because it becomes too heavy. This is about, I feel like, being too jealous, too possessive, and causing people to just wanting to run away. Too clingy. And this does not make people want to stay. This is what the problem is. Be aware that if you're constantly insecure that someone's going to run away from you, they definitely will. You must relax and learn how to build trust. You cannot do that to yourself or other people. It's not good. You need to look at choices and also patterns of the type of people that you pick. Because the Lovers also speaks about choosing better, making good choices. Make good choices, and then you don't have to be so insecure. And, you know, you have to also allow people to be who they are. Do not make them feel like you've got them chained down now that they've begun dating you, too. Be very aware of that. It is the biggest put-off is somebody that is insecure in this way. And be honest if that is a problem. If someone is treating you this way, understand that is not love, and possessiveness is not love, it is toxic. And if there is this jealousy going on in a relationship, it doesn't look like it's going in a good place. It looks like you've got a toxic situation. And this is about communicating, making choices. This is definitely sexual attraction. There's, with this card, the Knight of Swords. This is also knee-jerk reaction. Make sure you're not reacting very quickly once again and automatically throwing in one's idea that somebody is communicating in a... Just watch very much. Be careful from responding. I'm getting a bunch, and that's when I get that all at once, it's like, okay, wait, slow down, brain, information. But what I'm getting here is that, okay, something very quickly, this is the knee-jerk reaction. When you assume a message is about something, be very careful not to do that. And especially if it's to do with sexual innuendo or communication, do not automatically assume that this is what somebody is doing. There is a need for perspective because the perspective is skewed. Because I'm seeing jealousy, insecurity, and that is skewed. That is acting out, that is not seeing things from a realistic perspective, despite what you might think. It skews you. This is then one's next reaction of over heavy-handedness, of trying to control everything in a relationship or with somebody that we are afraid will abandon us. And so we're looking at messages. We respond. We're responding out of insecurity. And I feel like this could be like being paranoid about somebody else's messages that they're getting, their phone messages, text messages, electronic communications. I think what it's saying here with the 5 of Cups and the 9 of Cups is there's a real sense of loss of pleasure and enjoyment in one's life. A sense of security emotionally. There's been a loss. And make sure that you're not responding from that loss as somebody that is, well, frankly, acting in the way of the devil in a very oppressive way. Or if somebody has cheated on you or done something like that, and this is the end of a relationship, or there's loss that you're sorrowful and mourning, do not let it control you. Just make sure that you keep an eye on with yourself about ego and fear and insecurity controlling you and making you feel bad, rather than the truth. Like you're getting wrapped up in all those feels that are negative. And this is definitely to do with pleasure, attraction, and confidence. So I feel like if someone's pulling away from you, let them go. Let them go. Do not respond by clinging. Do not respond in that way. Because you might not have, firstly, the accurate perception of what's going on with regard to a relationship. And this looks very much like it is out of insecurity and a knee-jerk reaction. So slow the F down and don't just respond knee-jerk. When you catch yourself, especially when it gets all those crazy feels, slow it down. Just know that you may not have the right impression. And don't automatically go into this energy of where a relationship and pleasure is concerned, of feeling like you have less and there's mourning or loss. If someone has treated you that way, you need to move on. Process the loss, but understand that everyone is not that way. That definitely keeps coming in. And be open to, so that you can be open to, I feel like, positive, healthier relationships. Because don't set yourself up, or a relationship up to fail, because you're putting it to, like, I'm just picturing this old measuring stick of, well, then this means that, and that, because that happened in the past this way, and that's what happened. It's like, don't do that. Throw that out. Let this experience present itself. But don't automatically make it negative. And don't automatically assume that every person out there is going to do you the same way someone else did. Also, demand, that trust be earned. If you're in a relationship where there has been cheating, trust has to be earned. Because there's such a strong gear towards pleasure here, sexual and just emotional, emotive, that feeling of being in love, that, yeah, it's pleasant. I get why people want that. But this is the fear of somebody taking that away from you. And if you do that, you're most definitely keeping yourself from a real healthy relationship. So you have to let this go. Okay? All right. That makes sense. Let me know. And I hope that you have a great weekend and make good choices. All right? Yeah, definitely. With the good choices, with the lovers is making good choices. You know the better choice at the end of the day. You know what it is. Whether, there's short-term intense pleasure, but it's often then leaves such trouble in its wake that it is not worth it. often. So just be aware and use discernment. Lovers is also about using discernment, because that's what making good choices are about, whether they are about a relationship or anything else. All right? All right. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. Make sure that you are, and share. Thank you so much. Have a great week.